What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. And it is Rumor and Innuendo. I am Dominic D'Angelo of adfreeshows.com, SEScoops.com. Really worn out from WrestleMania, but I am here back in Pittsburgh. But I am also with Robert Karpelis, WWE Creative_ish. Robert, great to be back again with you, man.
Dom, you're back.
I'm back.
This is what a thrill. What a moment, guys. This is like, I mean, we haven't seen each other in like a day. Your brother Marcus was here yesterday, and ironically enough, I'm the one that cursed on air. So that's always fun. He brings it out of people. We'll say hi to a couple other folks here. Christopher Zanto, good morning, y'all. Let's have some pre-Dynamite R&I. Antonio Santos, happy Wednesday. Let's talk about WCW 2000. I mean, AEW. Stuart Green says, love that Rumor and Innuendo starts at 5 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time every day, just when I finish work. Perfect way to begin my evening. Wherever you are, morning, afternoon, night, we are thrilled that you were joining us here today. And I'm going to be fully transparent. I was stuck on a work call, and I just logged on about a minute before we started. And I'm like, Dom, what are we talking about? His response was, oh, we got to start the show. So I'm flying blind with you guys. For all I know, we're opening with Billy and the CW.
Yeah, well, not quite, Robert. We'll get there maybe today though. But we do got a lot to cover. And this has kind of been an underlying topic throughout WrestleMania week that we're going to get to. And it involves the AEW Dynamite preview. I was kind of happy that I kept tabling this until today because, boy, it's a lot to chew on with this. But AEW Dynamite's tonight. And they have a lineup. It's a good card from if you look at it that way. But the big takeaway is the Young Bucks will present backstage footage from All In, and we'll discuss it for the first time. Now, when I first saw this, and maybe you thought the same thing too, Robert, is like, this can't be serious. You can't be real about this. But sure enough, you hear the report from Brian Alvarez, Dave Meltzer, that it's not a bait and switch. And then sure enough, Tony Khan said with Sports Illustrated, this decision is based on putting on the best show for AEW, as well as driving interest for Dynamite and our Dynasty pay-per-view on April 21st. Tony kind of doubled down this week on it. We're going to see this footage, Robert. And
all right, just for point of clarification, why don't you tease what else there is? Because I feel like we're going to have a couple of things to say about this footage.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're also going to talk about the studios at WWE that just got revealed at the WWE.
Oh,
that's
cool.
There's a couple like analytics stuff when it comes to Cody Rhodes that I want to discuss in his star power. Like what are we going to expect after WrestleMania with Cody here? And then The Rock was awarded $9 million of TKO stock after competing at WrestleMania 40. So we got some good topics here coming up, right, Robert? But yeah, AEW Dynamite, that's what we're going to lead off with on a Wednesday, and then especially with this All In footage being released.
Is this my time to talk on this?
This is your time to talk. You can go now.
All right. So you weren't here yesterday. We talked yesterday about The Rock and Cody Rhodes promo that opened Raw.
Right.
And the crowd kept interrupting that promo with chants of profanity that muted everything they were trying to say. That's going to be my response to this, what we're supposedly getting tonight. I'm trying extremely hard not to use any profanity. And every time that I want to curse, I want to mute myself, in which case you'll just get 7 minutes of silence. I know I've been somewhat critical of All Elite Wrestling over the years. A lot of the criticisms I've lobbed at them, very similar to what CM Punk said, which is, hey, you're not in the same business. You're not the same model. It's not the same mentality everybody else in wrestling has, but it's Tony's money. You do you, as long as we're bettering the sports and entertainment landscape. This is the very definition of a no-win situation, Dom. There is zero positive outcome that comes from this, because either two things are going to happen. Either on the one hand, you're going to show fake footage as a gag, like when Shawn Michaels brought out a little person in a Bret Hart mask and super kicked them. And your audience is going to be really pissed off that this was a bait and switch and this was a pathetic ratings tactic by a company that is fully admitting that they are floundering, the water is overtaking the ship, and women and children need to abandon. On the other hand, they're going to show actual footage of CM Punk and whatever transpired backstage at All In which case they are admitting that this company is engulfed in flames. It is going down. Women and children first. Put your life vests on. Put your oxygen masks on, guys. We are not making it out of this alive.
Robert, the phrase in my head that I kept thinking about over the weekend as I was at WrestleMania, not even like AEW chiming in here, hey, guess what we're going to do? It felt low rent. Low rent. It's just like, you're going to do this, and how is this necessarily going to do ultimate, like, extrapolate what you're going to do for AEW Dynasty? Aside, maybe this brings back Jack Perry, but there's been no promotion of Jack Perry whatsoever on your AEW product since this has happened. So there is no reason to have this. And it feels petty, and it feels counterproductive in what you're trying to get across from your wrestling product. What you should maybe be focusing on is accruing and building the stars that you currently have, because what you're going to be showing is a current star you don't have anymore. And that he's also on the AEW, he's on the WWE product. So, hey, when I see CM Punk backstage, guess what? I'm going to tune into Raw and hope to see him again this following Monday. I probably won't because he's injured, but still, that gives me incentive to watch WWE more than it does AEW. It's low rent, Robert.
AEW has tried to pride itself since it first started that they were taking the high road on everything, that they were going to give their talent rights to intellectual property rights to their names and identities. AEW was going to give some of their talent health insurance, health benefits to help them out. They were not going to give them an arduous road schedule that was, 4 or 5 days a week and grind them into the ground. They were going to give them an opportunity for creative freedom that WWE at that time was absolutely not. It was a chance for you to go out there, cut the promo that you want, deliver the match that you want, and get yourself over. This has taken it to such a degree of just insane pettiness that even the tease of it is embarrassing, because what I'm seeing, if I'm a fan, is Tony Khan has no faith in Samoa Joe and Swerve Strickland as a main event program. I think the world of Swerve Strickland. He is if I had to pick a guy outside of MJF as my number one AEW draft pick, that's the guy that I'm picking. That's the guy that if WWE got Swerve Strickland, he would be the main event star of Raw tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tony has completely lost the narrative, and he's trying to get people to tune in the way that Eric Bischoff challenged Vince McMahon to a fight. We knew it was never going to happen. It's a sick ratings ploy, and it's stupid. And in 2024, when Tony Khan has predicated himself on appealing to the smartest fans, the less than 1 million or so people who tune in every week because they love the purity and the art form of wrestling, just as I do, I enjoy the hell out of a 5, 6, 7-star match like anybody else. But he has foregone the sports entertainment component of it to we're putting on the best matches in the world. We have Will Ospreay and Bryan Danielson who are going to wrestle on pay-per-view. A match so good that Jim Ross is doing everything he can health-wise to get himself rehabilitated so he can be there to call this match. Swerve and Samoa Joe is an earned one-on-one title match between an in-ring legend who can absolutely still go and Swerve, who in a lot of respects is sort of a homegrown talent because he's a guy WWE whiffed on, and they've now made somebody important. That's what you need. This is a playground overreaction to the Ariel Helwani CM Punk piece. Yeah. And he's proving Punk's point, because either we're going to see footage of Punk acting irrationally, which very well might happen, like, oh, we're going to embarrass him. You're embarrassing him when he said on this show, I'm not your policeman in your locker room. Please don't put me in a position where I have to go out there and tell Jack Perry what he should or shouldn't do. I'm going to have to fix this. And I'm a talent. That's not my job. So if he acted like an idiot, if he acted like a jackass, if he provoked the fight with Jack Perry, if he was unprofessional, he's in the wrong. But he was put into that position when he's saying there's a complete vacuum of leadership at the top. We always heard the stories of Undertaker saying, but with Brett and Shawn, if I got to intervene, I'm going to intervene. He didn't go beat the hell out of Shawn Michaels. It was just the threat, but they all knew at the end of the day, it's still Vince. This is just validating that Tony really has no control of what's going on. And if I'm a talent who's there, I'm concerned that now Tony Khan is showing that he wants to be retaliatory against his roster. Yeah. That if I betray him, he's going to have embarrassing footage. This is a weird comparison, and this is a show that has done weird, awkward comparisons before and blown up
All
in
the
host's
time.
face. So I'm just caveating this and not saying that they are the same. If you're hearing me, I'm saying the same, but in Scientology, one of the things they do to cleanse you is they record you talking about the most embarrassing, harmful, awful things you've ever done. And people who have left Scientology have said they've threatened to blackmail me with that footage and put it out there because I did it in an area where I felt trusted and safe and secure. Backstage at a wrestling show, even in 2024, is still very much sacred ground. It is still very much your safe haven. So the idea that we're going to release hidden footage from this, or even tease that we're going to release hidden footage from this, if I'm the guys in AEW, I'm pissed.
Yeah, Robert, like I'm thinking about this too. I was at WrestleCon, and obviously you see like legendary wrestling talent and stuff like that. But I also saw AEW talent there, like modern AEW talent. Wardlow being one of them. Like, and just being like, man, what a star he can be and he's capable of doing. And they're just not utilizing him. And then I even see the Hardy Boys, like the lines around the bend for them, for people lining up to see them. And like that's a constant throughout the whole weekend. And here you hear Matt Hardy's gone now. He's a free agent. He announced that he's a free agent. And you think about all these talents that go on these indie shows and have been doing this, where you're like, these guys had potential if they brought them in and started them off hot and kept them hot. But here, instead, again, back to the point, you're showing old footage of somebody that's not there anymore. And it's very low rent, very petty. And you're not focusing on the eye. You're not keeping your eye on the prize here. And the prize should be your stars that you have currently. You don't have CM Punk anymore. And
look,
here,
I'm an old man in the sense that like I grew up, I watched the Attitude Era live while it happened. I remember the Billionaire Ted sketch. And I was a diehard dyed in the wool WWF kid. Like
I was diehard WCW, so we're at the opposite.
Well, that's why you're an idiot. But I rooted and you were put into this position where you were rooting for another company's demise because the way that Vince had positioned this is Eric Bischoff has put Nitro up against Raw with the sole notion of trying to put the WWF out of business. And as someone who grew up loving the WWF, and I'm like, you're going to take away the thing that I love. You're forced into tribalism where I want the other company to go under because they're trying to take away the thing that I love. And when Vince did those Billionaire Ted Wrestling War Room sketches, and I was a kid at that point, I was embarrassed for him. I'm like, this is so petty and so dumb and makes you look so insecure. And now to see what Tony Khan is trying to do in the guise of I got to get ratings. This is some Vince Russo level stuff. This is, bro, let's put the title on David Arquette. He's a star. It's going to sell. Put the title on me. I'm going to be Booker. It's going to be amazing. Like, that's what this is. We are 3 steps away from Tony Khan going out on Dynamite and challenging Triple H to a street fight.
That's it. That's it.
I want to fight you, Hunter. Like, that's kind of what I want to see happen. This is, and then there's the other side of it. There is hey, this is really just, you're gonna hate the Bucks because they're doing this, and maybe they're mocking him. And FTR is gonna go out there and they're gonna stick up for their friend CM Punk, and they're gonna beat the hell out of the Young Bucks, and we're gonna see these two teams face off. And now it's personal. The mechanism that you're utilizing is incredibly stupid.
Yeah.
Because nobody's paying attention to the story. Nobody's even paying attention to the fact that this may get to a match. Because you know what match it's going to make you want to get to? You're going to want to see CM Punk beat the hell out of Jack Perry. You're going to want to see CM Punk and CM Punk and FTR beat up Jack Perry and the Young Bucks. In the same way, after Brawl Out, you hope that they were all going to come together and get Punk and FTR versus Kenny and the Bucks. And they couldn't get that match in the ring. That was the epitome of taking a real-life embarrassing situation and making a crap load of money out of it. That's the other thing that Vince was so good at. For as many bad decisions as he would make professionally when running the company, I'm talking about his personal life, he would take the real-life animosity with guys, pit them against each other, get the match in the ring, and make money. When I was there, we did Edge versus Matt Hardy. Do you have any idea how insane that is to tell? Like, I remember telling my wife about this later as like a layperson. I'm like, okay, so this one guy was home injured, and his girlfriend was sleeping with his best friend, And then we fired the guy who's home hurt because his best friend was more lucrative. And this is all real. And then we put them both on TV together and let them beat the hell out of each other for a match. And we got 3 pay-per-views out of it. Like, it sounds like to real people, pro wrestling is a crazy, carny circus.
Yes.
Even to pro wrestling fans, this is crazy, carny nonsense. And I have not seen anyone who's like, this is a great idea. This is fantastic. And no matter what avenue this is, if this is, we're really seeing this footage, or this is all a parlor game and we're just trying to like work you guys up into a frenzy, people are going to tune into this show. I'm sure it's going to do a higher number than most. You're rewarding bad behavior, but there's no good long-term outcome other than signifying we don't trust Will Ospreay, we don't trust Okada, we don't trust Mercedes Moné, we don't trust the Swerve Joe feud, we don't trust Bryan Danielson, we don't trust our roster. We need to go to extreme over-the-top stunts during WrestleMania week. Like, this is the week after Mania. Like, this is still everybody's happy, joy, and we just love wrestling, and we still can't get enough of it. You were at 430 shows this week, Dom. You're still excited to see more wrestling. And now it's like tuning into Dynamite. It almost feels like grimy and like exploitation.
Yeah, I feel like I should take a shower after I'm done with all that watching it.
You should probably just take a shower regardless, Dom.
Yeah, right? This is on Tony Khan, though. This is like from the promotion of the, being concerned that somebody like a Swerve, somebody like a Will Ospreay, somebody like a Samoa Joe is not going to get your product over. That's on you. That's on the weeks of building, trying to get talent over. And, the presentation these segments have been compelling. But it's like you have to position these in the right way. It's extremely short-term thinking, in even comparison to just short-term thinking. Real quick, let's go over the card here.
Oh, good. There's other stuff on the show?
Yeah. Hook.
Oh, by the way, there's a real quick comment here from Dre Owens. It says, watch the footage be the Bucks preparing for their match from All In. Yes, that's that's obviously when I'm talking about the parody component. There's some other thing they're going to show, and it's a bait and switch. And then the hope is that you're going to say, oh, these young Bucks, they're just drunk with power. I hate them. It's 2024. Nobody buys that aspect of it. It's like, no, we hate Tony and AEW for doing this.
Yeah, and the reports have been like, even Tony Khan, when asked, like, this is not a bait and switch. That's what they're saying. So even if it is a bait and switch, you're not building goodwill with your audience.
Right. But all they're trying to do is capitalize on what's going on the other channel, because CM Punk is hot right now. But I'm hoping the rest of their card is focused just on the majesty and glory of AEW. What's the main event for Dynamite?
Main event is Samoa Joe versus Dustin Rhodes, an AEW
I give up.
Championship eliminator match.
I give up. So your main event is because, well,
Cody.
I will fully admit this, because I'm stealing this from Mike Lawrence, who sent this to our group chat. We all had the same thought, but he put it perfectly. He's like, well, if Hunter can do a Samoan guy named Joe versus a Rhodes, we can do a Samoan guy named Joe versus a Rhodes. This is a cheap kind of scuzzy ploy. Like, well, if you like seeing Cody try to go for a world title, we got our own Rhodes, and he's going to go for a title. And it's like Heyman would smile at this. This is the kind of stuff Heyman and ECW trying to get attention would do, because you're just screaming like, whatever it takes for me to get attention, come pay attention to what I'm doing over here. I'm happy for Dustin that he's getting this opportunity, but again, this feels exploitative and gross. And
this should have been, if you're going to do a world title contendership match with Dustin, this should have happened months before. Like, take advantage of when Cody leaves and be like, okay, let's focus on Dustin and make a story about him being like still trying to get one last shot at getting a world title and stuff like that. Do something like that. But here, right after the fact that Cody wins the world title at WrestleMania on the biggest stage you can possibly have, then you're doing this. It's just like, what's going on here? So yes. Also, we have Adam Copeland, TNT Championship match against Penta El Zero Miedo for the TNT Championship.
I'm not even going to correct you on how messed up way you pronounce that, but we're good. All right. So it's, again, Penta and Edge in a first ever match. that's a pretty good sell. That's a, hey, I can't wait to see what these guys go out there and do. That makes me, if I'm an AEW viewer, feel good that I'm like, you know what? I'm glad Adam Copeland, who said last week, he's got a lot of dream matches in the pipe. This is him against Penta, homegrown for them. Obviously, Penta's wrestled all over the world, but he's an AEW original, for lack of a better term. And it's a lucha guy going in there with Edge who's going to put on what should be a really fun match. That's something for fans to get excited about.
Yeah. It is. I think it should be a good match, I think. Timeless Tony Storm is going to do a Charleston Championship champagne toast. Say that 3 times fast.
No.
Okay. Mariah May.
By the way, I got to praise. I mean, Tony Storm is one of those. She's doing such a next level gimmick that is so much fun and making people care about not only the women's division, but about her character development. It's absolutely remarkable. And it's what we hoped we would see with AEW on the creative side. In ring, yeah, they got a hell of a product. You watch that last pay-per-view they did, almost every match was probably a 3, 4, 5-star match. You can't really say the same thing about WrestleMania, but when you finish the AEW show or you finish WrestleMania, you have different feelings coming from it for the majority of the fans. But when they care about the character and they care about the character development, like what Tony Storm is doing, that's the secret sauce.
Yeah. It totally is. It's a telling aspect of the creative point there. Maria May will take on Anna Jay. Excuse me.
Mariah May.
Thank you. Jeez, oh man.
I like that now we're just doing matches that rhyme.
Yep.
Mariah May and Anna Jay.
Lion Hook and Shibata will take on Shane Taylor Promotions in a 6-man tag match. So that's the card there, Robert, for Dynamite.
So Jericho, it's not enough that Jericho has pulled in Hook for the Please Like Me tour. We're now using Shibata. You got to love it.
I say I saw a little promo. I believe it was on Collision, was with Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty, who I love. And I'm like, wow, this is a good opportunity for these guys together to repackage Lee Moriarty, somebody I thought was going to be, pushed relatively well, and we haven't seen, So I mean, the fingers crossed. I hope there's tension with Hook and Jericho, and Shane Taylor Promotion gets the win because, again, try to focus on some new stars here. That's the thing. But that's Dynamite, Robert. That's Dynamite.
Well, on Wrestle Roast, we always do Dynamite or Dud. I kind of have a feeling I know which side I'm going to wind up leaning on, but this is the sick part. This is like the most messed up, like abusive relationship that people have with pro wrestling. For as deplorable as what this is, for as stupid as this tactic is, I'm still going to watch Dynamite because I watch it every week. Like, no matter what, I'm going to watch it. Like, I watch Raw when they're trying to embalm people and they're like crucifying people and they're lighting them on fire. And I was talking about this with on I'm not trying to plug Wrestle Roast like 3 times, just kind of happens. Like we were doing something on our like we did like a Hall of Shame inductees, and my inductee was Beaver Cleavage, because before you guys want to think, boy, he's all in on on hating AEW and WWE is the best. Beaver Cleavage, when they took Headbanger Mosh, and they put him in a Beaver Cleaver gimmick, like leave it to Beaver situation with a manager who was basically his mom, who was in real life his partner. So you were setting up an incestuous mother-son relationship using a 1950s sitcom, and then they pivoted to a GTV reveal that she had a black eye, with the implication that it was spousal abuse. But then you found out from the GTV footage that she was faking spousal abuse while furthering an incest angle. And as outraged as I was, I still watched Raw the next week. So this is where we are, guys. Like, we're going to be angry about it. This is going to be stupid. It's not going to work. It's going to blow up in Tony Khan's face. Like, this is like Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck right now, which are Warner properties that are in the same bucket as AEW. But this is even more. This is Elmer Fudd. He's going to load the shotgun. He's going to pull the trigger. It's going to explode in his face. And tomorrow, when you all tune in live at noon Eastern, we're probably going to have a field day with this. I doubt significantly we're going to tune in tomorrow, and I'm going to sit here in my chair with these books behind me, and Dom's going to sit behind him with, for some reason, Muhammad Ali trying to punch him, and a cat just runs by, and we're going to say, my God, did you see what AEW did last night? They changed the game. Wrestling will never get better than this. That Punk angle with the All In footage. Like, I get Cody finishing his story. I get the 3-year bloodline story being captivating, but man, Tony won. This is it, guys.
Got it.
Hunter should fold up that new building that they built that we don't even have time to talk about the new studio they built. We don't have time to talk about the fact that Cody did how much in merch over the course of the weekend?
Over $1 million in merchandise.
Over $1 million in merchandise from a guy who was literally an EVP of another company. They had him. They had him. They had, and it's the same guy. It's not like Cody went to WWE and changed his presentation. No, he's still the goofy, overly earnest, dumb neck tattoo guy who comes out to the same theme song, unaware that he's Homelander, talking about his wife, talking about his daughter, talking about his father. Same guy, same presentation. And they're making an insane amount of money.
And here's the thing, too. Night 2 of WrestleMania, it was end capped by the 2 stars that AEW just had. You had CM Punk opening on commentary, Cody Rhodes closing it out.
Yeah. And you had Jade Cargill, who looked like an insane star.
Yes.
I just can't. I said I just can't. There's no end point to that sentence beyond this. And this was not our intent today. We had it was a whole run sheet that I wanted to talk about. There were ads we didn't even get a chance to go to. We'll quickly just, thank our sponsors, Blue Chew, promo code Rumor, and Factor, promo code Rumor50. We'll give them proper reads and ads tomorrow. But honestly, like, this just turned into, it's such a, like, we are living the wrestle crap.
That's it. And it's not like we want AEW to fail. That's not the point of this whatsoever. The point is we want them to do great because it elevates all of wrestling. That's what ultimately you want these stars to make money. You want them to feel like stars. You want wrestling to be great overall because competition's great. And, but this is stuff, again, just low rent. It just feels so low rent, Robert. It's crazy.
They're taking the worst lessons from the history of wrestling.
Yeah.
For a guy who, Tony Khan, for as much as Tony drives me nuts, I kind of feel like he would be my wrestling friend. We all have wrestling friends that are people that you would never socialize with in normal circumstances because they're just weird and awkward and odd. But because they like wrestling and you like wrestling, it bridges the gap and it brings people together. And I feel like talking to Tony, I'd be like, hey, remember that thing? He'd be like, yeah, I love that thing. Cool. We could sit and talk about that for hours. So I know that he knows everything that has or has not ever happened in the history of wrestling. And he knows exactly what he's doing here. And there's this weird sense of confidence that I begrudgingly admire to some degree, but know that this is going to be an absolute disaster. But you know what's not going to be a disaster, Dom? If the fine people tune in to hear some of the other podcasts that you've got going on. So where else can people hear the magical Dominic D'Angelo touch?
Well, sure. Actually, you guys can find me here still on our Rumor and Innuendo YouTube channel. I just posted the interview yesterday, I believe it was, maybe a couple days ago. Rey Mysterio. I talked to Rey Mysterio for like 3 minutes at the media day. And we talked about RVD. We talked about his transition from ECW to WCW. So we got a lot of good content in that 3 minutes. So take a look. Go to the Rumor and Innuendo YouTube channel. If you're already on there now, the video's up there. So go there. Speaking of RVD, you can go to rvdtv.com and see the bet that we got. I have a damn big episode this week. It's the Sabu interviews and the Bill Alfonso interviews. So take a look there. Get caught up on everything with Rob Van Dam. We'll record a new episode this week upcoming. And then as well, go to the Four Horsemen Network, the Arn Anderson YouTube channel. We got Greg Gagne and Magnum TA talking Vern Gagne, talking Ric Flair, talking Dusty Rhodes. If you guys are unfamiliar with that podcast, this is a good way to get introduced to the Four Horsemen Network as well as get more acclimated with Magnum and Greg Gagne. We're going to record this week as well, too. So go there. Definitely give us some likes, subscribes, everything like that. Hit the notification bell, all that malarkey.
Malarkey. Strong language, man.
I know. Got to pump the brakes there. But, Robert, I'm so amped up because I'm also part of Wrestle Roast with you guys, too. And what's going on over there?
With Wrestle Roast, we're going to be breaking down WrestleMania through the lens of some very talented, very funny stand-up comedians, Dan St. Germain, Scott Chaplin, Mike Lawrence. And then I'm there to try to be the ringleader. And then we're probably going to be talking about whatever the hell happens on Dynamite. But the nice thing about that is there we can curse. So if you really want to hear me use some of the language I truly want to use to be able to explain this, you'll be able to tune in over there. But tune in tomorrow at noon Eastern, a can't-miss episode of Rumor and Innuendo, because we are going to show exclusive footage of us reacting to them showing the exclusive footage of what happened at All In. You can catch that on the WWE Creative _ISH X account, the Dominic D'Angelo X account, the SE Scoops X account, the Podcast Heat X account. Podcast Heat is who makes this show possible, as well as the YouTube channels of Rumor and Innuendo and ad-free shows. Suck on that, Jeff Jarrett. So on behalf of the newly returning Dominic D'Angelo, I'm Robert Karpelis. Best of luck in your future endeavors.
We're back, baby.